We've got really one call. It's probably really the only thing on the log today, but it's on the burglary. There's also a stolen vehicle part. That one, I don't think that ended up on this log. It must have been yesterday. So this started off yesterday morning. We had a car that was parked in the 100 block of South Reed Street. There's a parking garage there. The car was left there. Keys were inside of it, and somebody stole it around 4:30 a.m. That was a 2004 Chevy Impala. Tuesday night, about 10:30, the owners of that car were asleep in their house, and this was in the 7400 block of West Kira Circle, K-I-R-A. They were sleeping, and somebody broke into their garage. Well, they reviewed their surveillance video and found out the stolen Chevy Impala showed up. Two guys got out. Looks like they forced their way in through a window to the garage. Once inside, they took a bunch of items and then also took another car that was inside, and that was a 2012 Buick Enclave, and then both of them left. I'm guessing it must have been. I didn't see that specifically in the report, though. So that was in the garage, right? The Enclave was in the garage. So the two cars then left, and we had officers, once they had the information about the stolen cars, one of them saw this, this was the Enclave, driving near 14th Street and 5th Avenue. They stopped it nearby in the 500 block of East 14th Street. There were two guys inside of it, and these were the clothing, everything matched the description or the video from the house where the burglary happened. And so both of them were arrested. Once the officers got done interviewing them, they had an idea of where the Impala may have been, and then we had another officer that found that Impala that was near 24th Street and Van Epp. So both of the cars were recovered. There was, I think, a few items that were missing, but there were some stolen items that were found, like credit cards that were found on one of the guy. There was some meth that were found in the vehicles. So both of them were arrested for burglary, motor vehicle theft, theft from a building, and possession of controlled substance. The driver was additionally charged with possession of a stolen vehicle, and then the passenger had another count of motor vehicle theft, criminal entry of a motor vehicle, and then possession of stolen property.
With the second vehicle, that was just found the car by itself?
The Impala? Yeah, that was the one that was stolen first. That was the one that was stolen in the morning. That was found just parked, so nobody was with that car. So both the two suspects were in the Enclave when it was stopped, and then one of the officers ended up finding the Impala that was parked in kind of in that area, I suppose. But and what's that?
Where was the house?
The house is in the 7400 block of West Kira Circle, K-I-R-A.
Did you say what time? You said Tuesday night. Did you say?
Yeah, they broke in. They ended up looking at the surveillance video, and they found it was about 10:30 p.m. when they broke in. And then the report was made probably about 12:30, 1 o'clock a.m.
And, sorry, did they know the owners of the Impala? Did they know that the Impala had gone missing before that?
The owners?
Yeah, so that they were sleeping in the house, right?
Yeah, so they made the stolen vehicle report earlier on Tuesday, and then so they knew their vehicle was gone, and then they went to bed, and then these two guys broke in. They basically drove up in that stolen vehicle. So I'm sure there was some papers inside the car, and then there was a thing in there that said that the garage door opener was in the Impala. So when the owners went to bed, they knew that the garage door opener was still in there, so they unplugged the garage door opener so people wouldn't be able to access their garage with that opener in that stolen car. But they obviously found a way in through the window.
So the Impala, the first one stolen, was that stolen from the house as well?
No, the Impala was parked in a parking garage on South Reed Street. That was in the 100 block of South Reed Street.
But both vehicles are owned by the same owner.
Both vehicles are owned by the same people, right? So the car was parked in a parking garage and stolen, and then The thieves basically went to the owner's address and broke in after that.
Put two and two together.
Right.
Gotcha. How much, meth was found on?
Just a small amount, yeah, no big quantities on that.
We did that, Dave.
Yep, so the driver, his last name is LeBlanc, Lablanc. First is Isaiah, Isiah. Middle is Canaan, Kanan, and he's 20 from Sioux Falls. And there it is. The passenger, his last name is Carr, Carr. First is David, David. Middle is Alan, Alan, and he's 25 from Sioux Falls.
For all the items that they mostly stole found in the enclave? Or they kinda,
There was some that were still somewhere in the Impala, somewhere in the enclave. I don't know if they've got everything that was stolen or not.
there's nothing like super high value then, just kinda,
No, nothing super high value.
that's it.
Right.
Oh, sorry, one more question. What was the time that the police initially saw them in the Impala and found them in?
That was. That was about 2 a.m. this morning. Yeah. Good on that. Okay. That, like I said, that was pretty much it. The aggravated assault, that was a domestic, that was a threat. The other burglaries, really nothing big from there. House that was entered. We had somebody that broke into a car, was found inside when police got there, but nothing was taken. Unlocked car, and then a business had some tools taken from it, but no arrests on those outside the guy that was in the car. The disorderlies are all reports. The embezzlement, that was a car that was loaned out. Family offenses, basically just reports. Some stalking, no contact violations, protection order violations. The frauds, we had ID theft and credit cards. We did have a package that somebody had purchased that didn't show up. I guess an item that they purchased on the internet that didn't show up. Not really the package, but the larcenies, a few shopliftings, a couple of unlocked cars, but nothing high dollar. Narcotics are marijuana, meth, no big quantities. Sex offenses are all reports. Nothing serious from the simple assaults. And the vandalisms, we had some cars that were damaged. Somebody threw a rock at an ATM, but no arrests on that. There was a graffiti call as well. So that's all I have.
Any additional info on that one stolen vehicle?
The Suburban?
Yeah.
So the Suburban was stolen on Sunday. That it was left running, and then
I don't know how it
the owner went inside, came out, and it was gone. So we ended up, somebody had called police yesterday afternoon. It was right about 5 o'clock, and that they saw that stolen Suburban was parked near 41st Street in Minnesota. So the officers, excuse me, officers got there. Nobody was inside of it. The envelope that contained the cash was still inside of it as well. There's no suspects at this point. We do have some information to follow up on, but no arrests have been made. So the owner the owner was notified. He was able to pick up the vehicle and the contents.
Was there an earlier call about that vehicle being at, near 60th Street? Near the
Yeah, somebody had called. That was about, I think, 11:30 or something yesterday morning, and it was at the Flying J. And when officers got there, the guy that was driving it basically drove through the grass and took off and headed west on 60th Street North. So there was no pursuit. The officers didn't chase him. So they did see him at that point, or see the vehicle. They couldn't tell who was driving it, though.
For cases like that, is it usually you guys don't pursue those kind of things? Just for safety of other citizens?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty rare circumstances when we pursue vehicles, just because there's a pretty high risk that's involved, and certainly we don't want to see any innocent people harmed in something like that. So in a case like that, it's a stolen vehicle, it's property. There's really no threat to anybody's life. And when he's going to drive over a curb and through the grass and take off at a high rate of speed, there's really no need that we would need to pursue in that case. So there are limited times when we would pursue a car, but by and large, we're not going to put other people at risk by trying to chase somebody.
With this case and on that other case, is it kind of, this is pretty two good examples of not leaving keys in the car, especially while it's running?
Yeah, well, I would say the vast majority of the stolen cars we have in Sioux Falls, the keys are left in the vehicle. And I think these are two great examples of why you shouldn't do that. On Sunday, the guy just went to run into a house and drop off an item, and so he was only inside for a couple of minutes, and he came out and his vehicle was gone. The other one, somebody had their car parked in a parking garage and had the keys left in it. If you shut it off, if you take the keys with you, neither of these crimes happen. So it's just that simple. And I think we're fortunate in Sioux Falls. The majority of the stolen vehicles we have are recovered in Sioux Falls. It's not like they're disappearing across the country or ending up in a chop shop. That's something you see on TV, but not something we experience in Sioux Falls. But again, a lot of these crimes are easy to prevent just by taking the keys with you and making sure your car is locked.
What's the success rate of crimes
Y-
like that?
Like,
Vehicle with the keys inside?
you mean, like, how often do we catch the people?
Yeah, because that's what we're gonna get at.
Yeah,
And for these two cases, we were able to, or get the one.
at least the one, yeah. I'd have to look at what our clearance rates is. I don't know that off the top of my head. I mean, there's a lot of them that are unsolved. I know that, but the bigger message is it's a crime that's easy to prevent just by locking your car and taking the keys. We've talked about this time and time again, but it's really a crime of opportunity. You leave your car unlocked, the keys inside of it. It just takes the right person to walk by, check a handle, and then they either help themselves or what's in there. They find the keys, they're going to drive away with the car. And they may just use it for a day or two. They may drive it from one side of town to the other side of town. But it's something that if you take the keys out, then you don't have to worry about it.
That's probably the biggest message for people is it's a preventable crime. It's probably one of the most easiest ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and I think people maybe are I don't want to say it's not a small town anymore. I mean, we have crime that happens, and we have people that are looking to take advantage of others, and a lot of these are crimes of opportunity. And so they'll walk along, they'll check car doors. If it's open, they get inside, rummage around. If they see the keys, sometimes they'll take the car and drive away. If it's cold outside, and obviously it's not cold recently, but that's another thing. If it's cold outside and you're warming up a car, somebody walks by, they're walking, there's a warm car, sometimes it's just too great of an opportunity to pass up for people. So there's a lot of things that people can do, and I don't want to sound like I'm victim blaming, because that's not the case. We still work hard at solving these, but there are some steps that people can take that are fairly easy to do that will prevent that crime from happening in the first place. And I think that's the bigger message. If we can get that message out, people take a few little steps, it's going to secure their property, and it's going to help lower our crime rate, and I think all of those things are a good thing. Anything else?
Anything on that jeweler guy at all?
Nope, nothing new on that. The fake jewelry, yeah, nothing new on that. No new cases, I guess, and that's a good thing. So, anything else? Okay, thanks.